Welcome in, boys and girls, to something wildly different. This is the Infected Specimen by BilletSpin Tops. Let's go ahead and kick the lights on here and get a good look at what these really are. Now, this little guy right here, I'm going to put that off to the side for right now. And we're going to start by spinning this one. Now, before I get too far off into the top video, because I know it's going to take up everything that I'm thinking about, I do want to let you know, because I know a lot of people are going to be curious about this. This spin station is made by a gentleman named Steve Waterton out of the UK, and his company is called Clear Cut Creation. And he's been creating kind of a sensation for these spinning top spin stations for a while now, and you can get them with and without the LEDs. And he made these specifically for those of us that had the Infected Specimen top. It's the perfect match. You couldn't get any cooler than that. He is on Instagram and on Facebook. You can contact him there, and I will put his information down in the description below. But let's talk about what makes the Infected Specimen so damn cool. And that's going to be this right here, the overall design, which is going to be the biohazard symbol that has been cut out. Just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. You guys know I'm a huge BilletSpin fan. I have a lot of BilletSpin tops, and I've pretty much stopped buying everybody else's. I'll buy one here and there, but I really am such a huge BilletSpin fan that I really have kind of dedicated my spinning top collection to pretty much all of Rich Stadler's designs. And speaking of the word design, let me kind of get into this part of it. This is what makes this particular top so special to me, is the fact that Rich had approached me a couple months ago, and he says, hey, would you want to have some fun and maybe design a top, and I can make it, and we can do a collaboration and have a little bit of fun. And I nearly tripped over myself at the opportunity, because this is something that Rich really doesn't do. He is doing a collaboration with Skelton over at Dynamic Inertia Tops, but that's another top maker. That's somebody that, you know, is known in this community, in this industry, for making tops. I'm just a schmuck that collects them and talks about them occasionally on YouTube. So when I got the opportunity, I'm like, yeah, I actually have the perfect thing in mind, and I don't think it took me 10 minutes to start getting the ideas fleshed out for him to be able to understand what I was trying to say. Because it's not just saying, hey, I want a biohazard symbol cut into a top. It's trying to describe how you want it cut out, and knowing the process that he's using, and not fully understanding all of the processes, trying to figure out how to make that happen. And the one that's spinning here in the center is actually the prototype. He made two prototypes. Obviously, the first one went to me, and the other one he actually gave to Gavin. So only two of these exist. And as of right now, I'm making the only video that this is ever going to be in on my channel, because we made a very special version, which I'll talk about here probably at the end. And I love this one so much that I kind of felt like, well, I've got two of the most special versions of this. I kind of like to share the wealth, so this is actually going to be going up on auction in the BilletSpin Facebook group. And I'm really excited to share it with you. I'm really excited to talk to you about it and show you the evolution of what happened here from the prototype to the production versions. As you see, the prototype is an amazingly stable, long spinner. But I am going to stop it just so that I can give you guys the breakdown here. So let's find the version that comes the closest to it. And that will be this one here with the Damascus inside. So as you see, the biohazard symbol is actually the same size. However, we had initially thought of doing this in a rounded kind of shape on the outside diameter. And when we fleshed this out, we started to talk more and more about the different aspects of the design, and he wanted to have some texture on the inner disc, and I wanted it to kind of look like a you know, like when you drop a pebble into a body of water, that ripple effect that comes out. I thought that would be really cool, and he liked the idea as well. And when he made this one, he left the bottom side all flat, we decided to add more of that ripple effect through here. And this kind of goes back to his other designs. You know, when you look at some of his other amazing tops, I really like the ones that have design all the way around it. There's nothing wrong with having a nice clean outside edge, or excuse me, inner disc on the bottom side, but I really liked having these ridges. And one of the things that I really loved from the Kraken was having these notches cut out in the sides of the top. See if we can get it to focus. There we go. And then that also exposes the inner disc material. Well, when I decided to change it to do that, we discovered that we could no longer do the rounded edge because you wouldn't get the same effect on the cutouts, and it's more difficult to do with the tool that's being used to create those slits. So in order to do that, we had to go back to a standard flat side design, and that did disappoint some people. I'll be honest with you, I much prefer the production version over the prototype. You'll see that the stems really didn't change. The only thing that changed on the stem was at the very top. I looked at that and went, that looks somehow kind of plain compared to everything else we're doing. And Rich said, I feel the exact same way. I really want to put something in the top of the stem. And he had played around with a couple of different ideas, and his idea was to go with the triangle that you see there. And great choice. It looks really cool when it's spinning as well. There is a lot of tactility to this stem. It works extremely well. And as you see, there's a lot of detail in it with the cutouts that he's done. And it's a beautiful piece. And one of the most interesting things that happens with this top when it spins, the raised logo here actually catches light. And it makes like what looks like a floating halo between the stem and the top itself. It's a really neat effect, and you only really see that effect when there is direct light hitting it. I have soft diffuse lights here because I use my photo studio to do my videos in, so I don't have raw hard light. I might try and hit it with my flashlight here and see if it gives you that effect. But it's a really cool effect, and they all do it as long as the material is shiny. If you picked a material like the Timascus, then it's not going to do that to the same degree. You may see it a little bit, but it was the shiny materials that really did it. There were all in total 15 different combinations that you could buy, and then there were some special editions. On this Timascus, my original idea was to have moon glow inside of all the tops, or at least, excuse me, at least in a large available option. Unfortunately, Rich only had a little bit of moon glow to work with, and he had never worked with it before, so he didn't want to take the risk of promising, let's say, 20, 30 people, once they paid for it, that they're going to get one. Instead, he only made 2. That's it. Only 2 exist in the full Timascus with the moon glow and the copper. This is also the only 4-piece option that was made available. He made this one for me, number 1, and number 2 went up for auction in the Facebook group. Number 2 fetched a record $3,150 for that top. And that, basically means mine's worth $3,000. That's pretty damn cool. I never would have expected anywhere near that number. But the Timascus is truly, absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to turn this off just for a second because it's really throwing off my white balance on the camera. So I got to give the camera a couple of seconds here to kind of find its balance under my lights and see if we can get the color to pop a little bit. It's nearly orgasmic. I mean, this is one of the most beautiful tops I've ever seen. And the moon glow effect is really cool, as you saw in the beginning of the video, and I'll probably do it again toward the end there so that you can see it spinning and glowing again. But my idea was I really wanted that radioactive feel. I wanted to have something green glowing through the exposed cutout biohazard symbol. So I thought that was a pretty neat idea. But all the rest of them are a different combination of the materials that he likes to use. This is not a material I typically choose, a combo I typically choose, but it came out so unbelievably beautiful I had to. I don't like materials that patina. So this top after today will never get spun. It's going to go into a display case and that's it. because look how gorgeous this is. Beautiful, rich, shiny brass, rich, shiny copper. And the more you handle it, the more it begins to dull. Then it begins to patina, and it starts to turn dark brown and look awful. To me, when I have a beautiful material, I don't want it to look like crap later on. I've said this before, I equate it to owning a Ferrari and owning it for 4 or 5 years and never once ever washing it. So when I hear somebody go, oh dude man, I love the patina on that, knife, top, whatever, I think, really? Nice patina? Nice dirty? I don't get it. I don't understand it. But there are people that really do love it. So for those of you that got this version, that will patina nicely for you. This is the most common combination that Rich does, most commonly purchased, and that's all steel over the copper. I love it because it gives you a great contrast and a great transition between the materials, and it really lets you see, with that stark contrast, where all the materials are and where one begins and one ends. And I think that's really, really cool. And for this particular design, I felt it was really, really important to have that. Another great contrast were the Damascus versions, where he used the inner core, the center disc there is in beautifully etched Damascus. He only etches one side and leaves the other side natural, where it almost looks like the regular stainless steel. But if you really look close, you can actually see the unetched pattern. So I also really liked the contrast here. It's almost a black and white contrast. And when the light hits this one, oh goodness, it really gets exciting. Now, this was a wonderful opportunity with me to get a chance to work with somebody that I consider a friend. Rich is an amazing person, and he's done really great things for this community overall, and especially for his community. Listen, if your dream top was X material and X material and X material, and he could get his hands on it, I guarantee he'd make it. He'd make it available sometime, someday, some way, in some top. He just wants to make people happy, and it really bothers him when he does like a sign-up sale and it may not go quite right for some reason, or whatever else, or the rarest material sells out quickly and people like to bellyache and complain about it. Even though that's the nature of the beast on limited production items, that's just the way it goes. It makes him feel terrible that he can't satisfy everybody. And that's just the kind of guy that Rich is. So to get the chance to collaborate with him on any level and be able to put out a top like this and say, hey, yeah, this was my design. This was my design inspiration. And one of the best top makers that's in the game, period. And really, in general, one of the best machinists that I know of made this thing. It makes it very special for me. So yeah, these two are going in their displays to never be spun again, because I don't want to, wear out contact points or accidentally drop one off a table and nick it and bang it up, because I have my other ones to spin and enjoy and play with and do all the things that I always do. I keep my entire collection is in my office, and they all get spun regardless of what they are, even though the Kraken, when we bought those, they were $130, and now they generally sell for the $1,000 range. I don't care. I'm still going to spin it and love it and enjoy it. But because of this special opportunity that I got with Rich to make it with him, I'd like to have these, kind of forever, and maybe give to my kids and so on and so forth, because it does commemorate a special event for me. So that's the sentimental idea behind it. We'll go ahead and turn the lights back on here. This is just such a cool spin station, isn't it? I mean, it's wicked and wild. I'm going to take this off for a second just so you can see the sides of it. I mean, the whole thing just lights up like crazy. And the fact that they're green LEDs, it just makes it so much better. All right, so let's give this bad boy a good spin here. Throw some light on it, and then we're going to go ahead and close out the video with this spinning in the dark, and I'll leave it running for a while, and you can choose to stay tuned and watch it as it spins and as the glow slowly fades, or you can just turn it off at some point, whatever you want to do. Let me kind of stabilize it just a little bit. And that's pretty much it for me. So yes, these all sold out instantly as soon as they were made available. Anytime that you want a BilletSpin top, you have to belong to the BilletSpin Facebook group to get the update as to when they're going to be available, when they're going to drop. He puts them on billetspin.com. You can always check the gallery. You'll see a lot of my photography out there and stuff, and see the older models and see the kind of work that he does. Wouldn't you know it, I hit the darn light. So let's try this again. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and shut it off here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Are you still here? What the hell's wrong with you? It's just this top spinning on a piece of glass. Here it goes. It's going. It's gonna stop. It's gonna stop now. It's gonna stop now. It's gonna stop now? Will it ever stop? Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. There's like 3 of you that have stayed this long and listening to this commentary. 3 people laughing along. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Down. Down. Sit. Sit. Roll over. Good. Now we can all get back to our lives.